All right, guys, we're back. If you're new to the channel, my name's Curtis, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about sexy evening fragrances to wear in the cooler weather. So some of these fragrances are quite heavy, so they work better in the cooler evening temperatures of fall, winter, and spring. But these are just my opinions. Bottom line is you can wear whatever fragrances you want whenever you want. There are definitely no rules to this, but these are just my choices for cooler evening sexy fragrances. So if you're curious to hear about the fragrances that I've chosen, then let's go. So first up on the list, from the house of Laboratorio Olfattivo, we have Neurotic. So this one's a smoky, ambery leather fragrance. It leans slightly masculine, and this one is very dark and mysterious and just overall very intriguing and sexy. And the first time I smelled this fragrance, it reminded me of the Blue Beast, Amouage, Interlude Man. It definitely has those vibes. It's not a dupe or a clone by any means, but sometimes when we smell fragrance, it reminds us of other fragrances. And that was the first thought that came to mind when I smelled this fragrance. But this is a stunning one. And this one doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but this one was created by Cecile Zarokian. She's one of my favorite perfumers, and she's done a phenomenal job with this one. This one is extremely unique. So with this one in the top, you get some red fruits and bergamot. In the mid, you get some saffron and some geranium. And in the base, you get some woody notes, some smoke, that leather, and a bit of sandalwood. And man, this one is just a stunner, and this performs like a beast. This one is, if you're looking for a beast mode fragrance, beast mode performance, this is it right here. At least on my skin, I get that type of performance. But just in general, it has a very, very unique smell, and I don't know, there's just something very intriguing and sexy about it. And if you wear this, no one else around you is going to be smelling quite like this. So it's something that can definitely help to set you apart. But this for me, again, is an evening scent. And I tend to wear this one if I'm wearing like a leather jacket or something kind of like I have on right now. Dressed up, but also with slightly rugged attire. This is the perfect scent for that type of look, in my opinion. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Neurotic from Laboratorio Olfattivo. Next up, from the house of Nishane, we have Kredo. Yeah, so this one's a warm, spicy, masculine-leaning fragrance. It's very robust, thick, deep, woody, and slightly creamy. And this one definitely has Tom Ford Oud Wood vibes. It's not a dupe or clone by any means, but I guess you could argue that it's an inspired by fragrance. But overall, it is very, very pleasant. In the top, you get some sexy cardamom and pink pepper. In the mid, some osmanthus starts to push forward. And then when you move into the base, you get a very sexy suede and subtle oud combination that is just stunning. It's very intriguing, and it's perfect for those cooler evenings. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Kredo by Nishane. Next up, from the house of Guerlain, we have L'Homme Idéal Extreme. So this one is sweet, smooth, warm, and spicy plums, and the tobacco helps to give it a bit more depth and character. And yeah, gosh, this one is amazing. Guerlain's done a fantastic job with this. There's always that argument of Guerlain being designer or niche. Bottom line is it really doesn't matter, as this fragrance is stunning, and yeah, definitely one that fits the bill perfect for those cooler evening sexy scents. This one, and also performance is quite good on this one. I have seen reviews on Fragrantica. People are saying that this one was reformulated and that the performance isn't so good, but I've never really had a problem with performance with this one. I definitely get 7 to 8 hours longevity with this. So, and that's really all I need. Upon initial spray with this one, you get that sexy almond blast that the L'Homme Idéal line is known for. Then in the mid, you get some very, almost kind of like fermented, kind of boozy plums that push forward. And then in the dry down, you get that tobacco and patchouli that really start to come to the forefront. And yeah, this one is a gorgeous one. I love it. definitely one to check out from the house of Guerlain. So if you can, get yourself a sample of L'Homme Ideal Extreme from Guerlain. Next up, from the house of Atelier Dior, we have Rose Amouage. So this is a very jammy, sexy Rose Ouze combination that has a slight sugary nuance given from the brown sugar here. And you also get a blast of fruits that's coming from the raspberry in here. But it is such a sexy and intoxicating fragrance. And not to mention, the bottle design is just awesome. I love the gold flakes that are floating around in there. And then they've just done a very amazing job with the presentation on this. Yeah, I love it. Man, this one is a banger. Performance is quite good too. It's a long lasting fragrance. You know, I would say it's just moderate projection and moderate sillage for me, but the longevity, it easily lasts over 10 hours. So longevity is great here. So when I first smelled this one, you can definitely get that heavy blast of rose mixed with the raspberry, and it gives it a slight sweet fruitiness that I absolutely fell in love with. And the oud here doesn't smell skanky at all, but it really adds to the overall depth and character to this fragrance. And you know, if you're not used to rose oud fragrances, or maybe your nose isn't accustomed to those scent profiles yet, this might be a good place to start, because the oud isn't skanky at all in here, and the rose is absolutely gorgeous. I'm a huge fan of rose, and I really enjoy this one. So yeah, while we have just a little bit more time for these cooler evenings here in Japan, I'm gonna be enjoying this one for sure. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Rose Amouage by Atelier Dior. And finally, from the house of Amouage, we have Enclave. So this is very sexy and refreshing spearmint with a slight smokiness and a slight undertone of leather, but it's blended to perfection, and it works so well in those cooler evening temperatures. Man, the spearmint in here smells so refreshing and almost energizing in a way. This one kind of has slight fougere-like qualities. I don't know if I would necessarily call it a fougere, but it definitely has some fougere-like qualities. But it doesn't, you know, stay on the same path as a typical fougere would. And the spearmint in here gives this fragrance a slight sweetness that works very well in those cooler temperatures. But yeah, this is a heavy performer as well, so you don't need a whole lot of sprays. I wouldn't do more than 3 sprays with this one, as on my skin, this one pushes out extremely heavy and it lasts the entire day. Longevity is crazy, as with most Amouage fragrances. So yeah, go easy on the trigger with this one. But yeah, this is a beast and a gorgeous one. Very sexy and intriguing. And like I said before, I don't have another fragrance that smells quite like this in my collection. So yeah, this is a very unique one that will definitely help to set you apart in those cooler evening temperatures when you want to smell sexy, but also quite refined. So if you can, get yourself a sample of Enclave by Amouage. Alright guys, so that's all I have for you for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. And do you know these fragrances? Have you tried any of these? What's your opinions about them? I'd love to hear them. And also let me know down in the comment section, what are your fragrance go-tos for those cooler evening temperatures when you want to smell sexy? I hope everybody's staying healthy and well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.